Anyways, so Brent, it's been a minute since you've been on.
It has.
So what's been up in the wide world of Brent?
I beat the first DLC to Assassin's Creed Origins.
And that would be which one?
The Hidden Ones.
And what did you think? Also,
I enjoyed it. It was how did you put it, a good epilogue?
It is a good epilogue. I thought that it addressed some things that really jumped out at me. Like at the end, they're like, basically it was the problem you had with the Assassin's Creed 2, where at the end of Assassin's Creed 2, you're like, yeah, it's great that this is doing so well, but like, wouldn't that draw a lot of attention to themselves?
I do like that it does highlight the fact that the assassins are terrible at choosing a side.
Yeah. But anyways, so have you started on... What's up, Giggles?
Just the way I spelled that.
Nice. Have you started on the second DLC?
I have started on the second DLC, but unfortunately the fire that Horizon Zero Dawn had lit under me has gone out.
That went out pretty fast.
Life goes.
Life happens. Let's see. Any other personal gaming stuff you've been doing?
Nope. Assassin's Creed's been the most I've made progress on.
All right. Before we get into any news, let's see. I'm not 100% sure. God, when was it? What is it? The 21st? So I remember talking about Hellblade. I can't remember if I talked about Ni no Kuni 2. That ended up being enjoyable. We put a ton of time into it.
You did put a ton of time into it?
Well, and on top of that, because I, behind the scenes look here, whenever I'm editing the podcast, I put something on to grind while the final listen is happening, and I've been grinding up in Ni no Kuni because it's weird. You don't have to grind in that game at all unless you want to beat the hidden dungeon. Then you have to grind a lot. It's very strange because the game's like, here's 50 super hard enemies, and when you beat them, they're like, haha, JK, here's 25 really hard enemies. That's strange. But past that, I also beat the Hidden Ones and the Curse of the Pharaohs. Hidden Ones worked as a good epilogue. Curse of the Pharaohs is weird. Like, not bad. It's just way too tonally different. It feels like they didn't want to pull a Tyranny of King George. Like, they want to lean into ridiculousness because if you got to the point, I already told you this, you go to 4 separate afterlives.
Not yet, no.
But you know it happens.
Yeah.
Like, Bayek refuses to acknowledge he's in an afterlife. He's like, no, this is all a trick. Like, all of this is just a trick of the ancient technology. Like, okay. Like, he doesn't want to, they don't want to double down on it like the Tyranny of King George. Like, and I feel it's weaker for it. It's just very oddly paced. I also beat the hell out of Guacamelee 2. Like, it was not as good as the first one, but it was still good. The problem is that it strongly assumes you've played the first one. So a bunch of characters only get cameos. Like, they don't develop any character nearly as strongly as they did in the first game, which is hugely to its detriment. So, like, every one of the bad guys in the first... No, I take that back. They do develop the bad guys in this game, but they also include almost all the bad guys from the last game filling different roles, and it's not the same. Like, it's difficult to understand if you don't play it because it feels like they try to recapture some of the little magic from the first game. Like, oh, hey, you remember that boss you fought whose head's always on fire? Oh, he's teaching you moves in this game. Also,
he failed and was teaching at night school.
Well, in this game, they really just double down on the silliness because you have to save the Mexiverse. And which is to say that somebody is, oh my God, he is assembling the 3 tortilla chips that allow him to eat the sacred guacamole. And when he puts the 3 tortilla chips together, it's straight up the Triforce. And yeah, And the bad ending in that game isn't nearly as bad as the bad ending in
The chips were
first
stale.
one. No, in the first one. In the first one, it's a much more bittersweet ending. And the second one, the secret ending is hard to get. Like I almost rage quit a couple times, but I persevered. I enjoyed it, not as much as the first one. Like I beat the first one 3 or 4 times. This second one, I'm not 100% sure I'll be beating it again anytime soon. Past that, let's see. Oh, yeah, I beat La Mulana too.
Yeah.
Dude, that's an accomplishment. I still heavily used a guide for it. Dude, those puzzles are insane.
Yes, they are.
You saw them.
We did.
Oh, my God. Now, I think
watched
my favorite anecdote of that, like, okay, Brent, tell me the next objective, this thing. Okay, next objective, that thing. Next objective, this thing. Next objective. You go to here, do that, do this, and a lot of information. Just tell me the next part. And then after I got it and engaged in the boss battle and the boss fell down and crushed me, I'm like, Brent, what the hell? You cut me off. I told you needed a key. Otherwise, that boss would crush you. I'm like, well, shouldn't have been so impatient. It's interesting because the game is both more accessible and less accessible. It's more accessible because it controls better, and frankly, the bosses aren't as difficult.
So their fluctuation was, it controls better, but man, we got to make this game just garbage in difficulty.
Well, the first game was exactly like that too, but the second game, it opens you up to the entire like playing field way faster. So it's much easier to be like, well, where do I go now? Because you can access almost every level very fast, which creates problems. But let's see. And past that, when I beat La Mulana 2, I started up Darksiders 2. Which, given my tepid reception of the first game, you would think I would go pretty negative into the second game, yeah? It seems like it's learned a lot of its mistakes almost immediately. For example, the first game started with, I don't know for a fact it had butt rock in the beginning section, but it feels like it would, because like the armies of hell are invading Earth, there's fire raining from the sky, you walk out of a meteor holding your giant sword. Like, it's so 2006, it's not funny. So the second...
You just reimagined it to have butt rock.
It doesn't not seem like something that would be ripe for butt rock.
Oh, yeah, it sounds like Halo. I mean, it sounds like Doom. It sounds straight up
yeah.
like the new Doom.
So, yeah. So, not the new Doom. The new Doom looks super rad.
Well, no, I mean, the last Doom.
Yeah.
Except it knew what it was and played into it.
It did. The second one opens up with you as Death riding your horse to a solitary icy mountain where a downplayed orchestral score has you climbing this ice mountain in solitude. Like, it's almost the exact opposite of the first game, which is good. And then, that being said, Broody McMoody Face is not particularly engaging. Broody McSkull Face. There we go. Now, one thing that they did do smart was they allow you to put equipment on your character. That's smart because it creates a sense of engagement with the character. I never really felt engaged to the protagonist of the first game. And so even though it's an arbitrary thing, because in an action game, if you have good balancing, you don't really need an upgrade system because the combat just gets incrementally more difficult as you learn how to play better.
Yeah.
So this is arbitrary, but I do already feel more connected to it. So it's accomplishing what it set out to accomplish. We also beat Zero Time Dilemma, and I'm going to just talk about some of the insanity of that here in a second. But we will not be recording any of these things for a couple weeks. Not that anybody will know because I'll have everything recorded. By the way, this is the exact reason we removed the small things we're playing in news from the beginning, because Now I can say it doesn't matter because I can say the dated stuff. That's the exact point of doing this. Yeah, so no sass. You can't sass, right?
That's my favorite game.
I know. Anyways, I'm going on a little bit of a trip, and I picked up Celeste, which is a platformer, which you saw. I picked up The End Is Nigh, which is also a platformer adventure game. And I got Dead Cells, which is a Metroidvania roguelite. All of these games, Dead Cells and Celeste were both crazy well reviewed. The End Is Nigh was strongly reviewed. So I'm down to clown. All of them are on Switch too. I got every one of them on Switch. I think if Switch had come out closer to when the PS4 and Xbox One launched, yeah, all of my multi-platform games would go there if they could. Anyways, so Zero Time Dilemma. This is a game, and we're going to actually record an episode about this. Me, Kraus, Chris, and Kara, of all people. Because Kara and I played through all 3 games in the Zero Time Dilemma and the Zero Escape series. That was 999, 9 persons, 9 doors, 9 hours.
Is that the one that I watched you guys?
Maybe. Give me a little more.
The one with it was murder. You were trapped in a basement. There's something about doors being opened.
So that could have been 999 or Virtue's Last Reward, because both of them.
The second in the series.
That was Virtue's Last Reward.
Okay.
So we played through both of those games and Zero Time Dilemma, and we'll get way more into this in the episode. But Zero Time Dilemma was the final instance of this. This is a game where time travel is not only a factor. Hear me out, because I ended up loving it. Time travel is not only a factor, it is crucial, because this is a game that adheres to the many worlds theory of time travel, which is the only way I can enjoy time travel, but it does it in a very video gamey way, because one of the facets of it is jumping in between the different timelines. So like if in this timeline you flipped a coin and head somebody got shot, tail somebody didn't get shot, you might need to be in the timeline where somebody gets shot, because after they get shot, they give you some information they weren't going to give you otherwise, then jump over to the other timeline and know that information. Like, the execution was fascinating to me. And I won't pretend there wasn't some BS. Like, spoilers if you haven't played it and plan to play it. No one's going to end up watching this, so that's fine. But so there is a twist in Zero Time Dilemma where at the beginning of the game, they split the 9 people up into 3 teams of 3. You find out near the very tail end of the game that one of the teams actually had 4 people on it. But because of the angles and ambiguous language, you never realize every time they refer to this character Q, you assume it's this small child. But then you realize near the end that it's like, they've never actually called that kid Q. They keep talking about Q, but they've never called the kid Q. And it turns out Q is this old man who's always been slightly off camera. I'm like, come on. Like, literally, you turn the camera. And it's like, it's him. It's like, no, small child. They call the small kid by his name. That's not the bad guy. That's Q. Like, it's a really weirdly delivered twist that's really shenanigans. But going back, a ton of stuff that didn't make sense in the game suddenly made sense. Like, there was a point where you had a 3-way standoff between the 3 people you knew of. And if you typed in self, it said cannot commit suicide. If you typed in Q, it says must know Q's real name. If you type in Sean, which is what I was convinced this kid's name was, it's like error. What do you mean error? That's his name. Q is Sean. Like, why is this stupid game broken? So later in the game, I found out what the bad guy's name was. I went back to that scene and put in the bad guy's name. The kid turned, because I was controlling the kid turned and shot the camera. I'm like, what? So there was a ton of hints. In retrospect, I do feel really dumb. So I'm like, yeah, they kind of did drop a bunch of hints. But anyways, it was a hoot and a half. It involved non-linear time, but I didn't take it seriously at all. It was actually really, I think, and I can spoil this for you, Brent, it was totally insane because you think that everybody wakes up at the exact same time and they're put asleep at the exact same time for reasons that aren't ever really explained. Turns out everybody's actually on like a rolling time. So team 1 wakes up, then they go to sleep for a while. Then team 2 wakes up, then they go to sleep for a while. Team 3 wakes up. So they're never all awake at the same time. So if you go through where at the beginning, they're given the option to execute everybody else. If nobody chooses to execute anybody in that one, you then are given a 3-stage puzzle box where you have to go through every other timeline to get the answers to this puzzle box. In the course of getting the answers to this puzzle box, you find out that 2 of the characters in a failed timeline managed to hook up while they were in this bunker and got locked in and had twins. And that allowed them to time shift those twins back to the 1900s, where one of them then went forward in time and they were actually in the room, trapped in with their time travel kid. Then like that's the kind of game this is. And then after they've gone through and done all this time travel shenanigans so they can answer this lockout box, it activates a self-destruct mechanism. But you have all this information at this point. Is that a yawn or?
It was a mixture of things.
I'm about to say, I wasn't 100% sure what happened there. Anyways, at the very, very, very beginning of the game, the bad guy presents you with a choice. Predict the coin flip. You will always guess the coin flip correctly the first time. The point of that is it allows you to jump from that timeline where everybody dies up to the very beginning of the game where everybody lives. So now they know all the bad stuff that happened to them, but none of the bad stuff did happen to those consciousnesses. So that's this game's shenanigans. Though I know you don't. Do you listen to ones you're on normally? Or do you listen to what you're not on?
Mostly the ones I'm not on.
Okay, listen to this podcast. Like, I am legit looking forward to recording this. I didn't think I would be, but I am. So
unless I'm going to play the game at some
you're
point,
not going to play this game. You listen to this. This one I really, really enjoyed. But anyways, I try to time box these at a little over half an hour. So we got about 10 to 25, half an hour to 45 minutes. Again, not a single person is tuned in at this point. But I also gave no heads up on this one, which is good because if I had said we were going to go on at 5, I didn't get home till 6 anyways. Yeah. I was not feeling it when I got home. So anyways, let's talk about some game news. Ooh, Kingsman 3 officially has a 2019 release.
I did see that.
That's not a game thing.
I do have video game movie news relation. You see Michael B. Jordan maybe in the movie version of Rainbow Six?
No.
Yeah, that's been announced.
I would like to note that Telltale probably shuttered today.
Yeah. So Telltale news then? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, bye. Oh, that's nice. Nintendo grants terminally ill patient his dying wish to play Smash Ultimate.
Oh.
Yeah, right? Okay, sorry.
Yep. 4 hours ago, Telltale released a statement confirming closure.
I mean, they made progress, but is it really surprising? Like, not to be crappy, it kind of just felt like they were, when I was playing it, which admittedly was 3+ years ago at this point, it just felt like they were putting out the same game over and over and over. Which, yeah, that's why I didn't.
I mean, I only ever played Walking Dead Season 1 and 2.
Ooh. SNK Boss asks fans if they want a Metal Slug reboot with traditional mechanics. That's interesting to me because me and Kraus have been playing through the Metal Slug anthology because it was like $1 on PS4. Those games are really fun for what they are. Like, I would probably spend $10 if it was a new Metal Slug that didn't look like garbage. Those Neo Geo games also looked gorgeous. Red Dead Redemption Online was announced.
It was.
Which that's probably not going to be a thing we play as a team, right?
That'd be up to you guys.
Yeah. I know Aaron never got into it.
I just want to say, I feel like it would be the same as Grand Theft Auto 5 on purchasing a game for the online content.
Yeah. Well, I think they might be distinctly separate.
Really?
I think so.
Interesting.
Let's see.
They announced the Pokemon Go official, the Deoxys raids that you and
Oh yeah, me and Chris predicted those. Yeah, the Pokemon Go Deoxys EX rays. Because yeah, we predicted it. I wonder if that means Mewtwo is going to stay a normal raid.
I kind of hope so. I doubt it though.
You think? Let's see. They announced PS Classic.
Yeah, they announced the PlayStation Classic, which people are pissed about the price. I didn't see what the price was.
What do you mean pissed? It's $100 for 20 games?
So, because we'll get into this, because also at the same time I saw that the Sega Genesis Classics pushed back to next year, and at the same time today or yesterday, filings indicated when the N64 Classic, which Jake, it is happening. He's the only person who is insistent upon it cannot happen. And I don't know why. Jake, he's constantly insistent upon there cannot be an N64 Classic.
Okay, well, all right.
I don't know what his thing is about that. But all three of those, what is this obsession with classics?
I don't know. Like, I brought that up to Kraus recently. I'm like, who is this for? Like, we've gone too fast. Because I feel like the people who would be all for this, like, they wouldn't be the same people who are all for the NES Classic. I feel like you got to put 5 years in between it. And they didn't. They put 2. I did like Kraus's comment, though. I have to commend Sony for their tried and true tactic of taking Nintendo's idea, making sure someone else sees it's viable, and then copying them. On a related note, Vita is officially discontinuing production
next year in Japan.
Yeah, who cares? I have one. Do you have one too?
Yes. Did they announce what's going to be on the PS1 Classic at all? Or is
they announced 5 games. The only one that jumps out was FF7. I think Virtual Fighter. No, Tekken 3 also.
And that's the thing about this. Like, I feel like I'm being shafted because my complaint about the NES and the SNES Classic was that I had all the games on Virtual Console. Like, all the games I wanted, I had on Virtual Console. But then I feel like I've been shafted about the Virtual Console with the Switch. So I feel like I'm being dicked into getting these things by Nintendo.
I mean, or you just not buy them. Like,
but then I won't have my classic games, and I want to have them.
Nice.
Star Wars news. So they announced, someone talked about...
Is this a game thing?
Yes.
Okay.
In relation to Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order.
Okay.
One of the people working on it related it to a previous Star Wars game. They called it Force Unleashed without the caffeine.
That good?
I don't know how to feel. Well, you know my opinions of Force Unleashed.
I know everybody's opinions on Force
I know
Unleashed.
people who think those were good games.
You know people with brain damage. Do they listen to this?
I don't know about it.
Okay, cool. Yeah. Like, check their skull for dents.
Ugh.
I don't
know how to feel about that.
I don't know. They enjoy it? Stop being friends with them.
No, comparing that game, like, it was a game I was kind of excited about, the idea of it. But when they compared the gameplay to Force Unleashed, that already makes me real nervous.
I wouldn't want that.
But then not on caffeine, I don't get what that means. So you're not a jackrabbit
Maybe it's not as spastic. I never played it, so I don't know.
I hope so.
Let's see. I know there had to be some more stuff. Shadow of the Tomb Raider came out.
It did.
Jake loved it, but no surprise there. I'll get it at some point. I know there was news from Tokyo Game Show. I didn't see much from EGX, but I can't think of anything that jumped out at me. Oh, Spider-Man came out, and people are really enjoying that. Like, it's the fastest selling exclusive game that's come out on the PlayStation.
Really?
3.3 million copies in 3 days.
Damn.
Yeah, that's crazy.
I mean, I want to pick it up. Just still determining if it's that or Smash. Then we're going to pick up this fall. On note about Smash, apparently a hack revealed that Street Fighter's Kenneth Ken Masters may be in the game.
That wouldn't surprise me.
Apparently a leaked, hacked image of him standing next to Pac-Man.
Pac-Man's in it?
Well, Pac-Man was in the last one.
Oh, this is tangentially game related. Did you hear the Final Fantasy composer Nobuo Uematsu? He had to step back.
I saw that, dude.
God.
Health concerns.
Yeah, that's a bummer.
Well, how old is he?
Not old enough that this should be one of those.
Oh, really?
Yeah. He might be in his 60s, maybe. Like, not old enough where it's like, go quietly into that night, sweet prince. But anyways, let's see. More stuff. Trying to think. You got anything else that jumps out?
I did have a few other. I'm trying to find the articles of that I was looking at.
They've announced a few more characters for Mega Man 11. I've already pre-ordered it because there's a version with an amiibo. I'd love to say there's more to it than that. Oh, they showed more gameplay for Resident Evil 2. I might actually be excited for this game. Like, it looks good. So I might actually be excited. Kara keeps trying to tell me that we should pick up the Spyro trilogy. Like, darling, you burned all your bridges with Crash Bandicoot.
I still want to play Crash Bandicoot, but that's me.
You want to buy our copy for $30? I'm joking.
I know you're not. I'd like to try this just because I never played Spyro and it was a game I thought I might be in. I played a demo.
It actually looks a lot better than It actually looks a lot better than Crash, but I mean, a steaming turd would look better than Crash. I did not enjoy that, and we're still.
I can tell. Off note, Diablo animated series is reported for Netflix.
Fancy. I guess Castlevania did fairly well, huh?
Didn't it get a second season?
Yeah. What was it? There was something else in here that just jumped out at me. No, that's about
the Nintendo Switch Online. The Nintendo Switch Online's NES game channel has already been hacked.
Oh, I did see that. Is that any surprise? Oh, the Undertale port that just came out for the Switch might hint at what Toby Fox is working at next. Because apparently there is a character in the game that says you should meet my neighbor's daughter, Susie. And when you beat the game previously, that NPC said, oh, you never got around to meeting her? She doesn't exist in the game. You never got around to meeting her? That's a real bummer. Now, in the Switch version, instead the NPC goes, oh, you never got around to meeting her? Then this NPC turns gray and its face becomes an eyeball. It goes, don't worry, you'll meet her very soon. Like, yeah. Should we play through Undertale on Genocide sometime soon?
I think so.
You think? I don't know, man. Voicing that run took forever.
It did.
But we'll kill a lot more people.
What is PlayStation Now? Why have I not?
PlayStation, because you don't listen. PlayStation Now is the PlayStation streaming service.
Okay.
You have no reason to care about it.
I don't.
So, let's see. I'm not, because we talked about the Nintendo Direct already. I'm pretty sure I talked about it with Chris or Alex. So you don't get that one.
Oh.
Sorry, bro. Let's see. Red Dead Redemption. Oh, No, Red Dead Redemption 2's multiplayer component, Red Dead Online. All right, so yeah, you'll buy the game. Red Dead Redemption was a good game. Like, that's a game I could recommend you actually getting behind. You won't.
You don't know that.
Do I not? Is that before or after Metroid Prime trilogy?
I'll get to it.
Will you?
Yes.
I'm excited. Castlevania Symphony of the Night might be coming to PS4.
Oh.
You'll never beat that either. Go
So
ahead.
Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee may be introducing a brand new Pokemon.
I saw that. It's a creepy little eye monster.
It's weird.
It's gross. We'll see how that works out. Oh, that reminds me. You better get some Pokemon worth trading because I'm going to get me a whole bunch of Corsola. So step up your game.
I will try my best.
You damn right. Let's see. We got anything else, or can we wind this down? Switch Online went live.
Oh, it did. Apparently Rocksteady's new game may be announced next year, finally.
All right. Cool. You care more about that than I do. I did not care much for Arkham Knight.
I know you didn't.
It wasn't inherently bad, just like not good.
Is it sad that video gaming news is taking up with stuff about Toad right now? I scroll down to see an article that goes, what does Toad actually look like? And like, I feel like if you're reading a video game news site, if you don't know this, what are you?
I remember Kraus he linked me a thing where somebody from Nintendo Mobile was like, Mario Kart and Toad are trending on Twitter right now. Hooray. And then they responded like, we regret posting that. We're sorry. Because I'm like, I don't get this reference. And Kraus goes, you know what? The journey is half of the fun here. So I look it up. I regret everything.
Did Kraus say that?
Yeah. Yeah, because he's like, a comment was made by somebody relating to the president. I'm like, what? He goes, you know what? I'm going to let you take over from here, buddy. Thanks, Kraus. Really appreciate that. All right. I'm going back quite a while at this point. I think we're pretty good to wrap this up now, yeah? Oh, they did close the Dead Rising studio, apparently. Capcom did.
Huh.
I think that's their Vancouver studio.
I saw about the restructuring.
Yeesh. Yeah, they're expecting to take a big loss, which, that's a bummer, but you know what wasn't very good? The fourth Dead Rising. Just wasn't. This is awkward. 3 days ago, Telltale shows off episode 2 of The Walking Dead, the final season. You think they're going to, hot fix it so everybody dies at the end?
Ooh.
And then everybody died. Let's see.
How quickly things shuttered.
Ooh, things went south real fast. All right. I think we're about ready to wrap this up. Brent, what do you think?
I'm good. There's a Seinfeld Easter egg in Spider-Man.
Focus, bro. Focus.
I hope it's the Soup Nazis place. Okay. We're good.
Let's see. I am going to... Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to end it on this. A mod of... Let's see. I'm going to hold it up to the camera. Give us something good to go out on. It is a mod for Final Fantasy. I hope this is great. Oh, this is the best. Okay. Let's go ahead and rotate. I would apologize for our weird energy on this one, but again, nobody's watching. So check it out. It is a mod that has Noctis riding a fish. So we're going to go ahead and rewind real fast. I'm going to hold this up to the camera. Brent, thank you very much for coming on.
Yeah.
Thank you for tuning in, nobody. And until next time, this is Co-Opinions. I will leave you on this fish. Yippee-ki-yay, fish.